Hey everybody, I am Christopher. I'm doing Sketch a Day May every day in May. This is yesterday's sketch. I accidentally hit go live a little early. Ba-ba-ba-da. But here we are. I'm trying to get the zoom just right. Hi Elstefan, this is my most loyal fan. The coolest of the cool, Elstefan. Okay, got my supplies, got my coffee. I got rid of the bee in my life. So I have a phobia of bees. This is yesterday's sketch. I have a phobia of bees. I did not know it was a phobia until like really recently, although I've been terrified of bees my whole life. I thought it was just like, I'm sure like a lot of people have a spider phobia who think it's just a normal fear. All right. I'm sketching every day in May. I don't know what I'm going to sketch today, but I want to start relatively right away. Any suggestions? Fudd, you have a suggestion? Yeah, I face it head on with my foot. Oh yeah, I was going to sketch a bee. That is exactly what I was thinking also. So here we go. We're going to sketch a bee. I guess just like a regular bee, right? I know I sketched a bee really recently. So we'll get the outline with this pencil, which is a regular pencil. Is the light okay? Okay. It's dark compared to usual, right? Yeah, I don't know I can try that, but I think that'll cause a glare. But let's do this for now. So let's get going. Yeah, I did a bee recently. I remember insect, um, is it biology, I guess, from school? Morphology. So you have the thorax, the anthrax, no, and the head, whatever that is. Abdomen. What? We'll have some wings. You know. And bees, a lot of insects, right, have gigantic eyes. Bees are no exception. And something that I learned about recently, because I was drawing a lot of insects and I was trying to learn about them, is that their antennae are like sectioned. And it looks good when you section them out like that. So I'm Christopher. I'm doing sketch a day every day in May. Today is day 19. Yesterday I sketched a lion with a flower in his mouth. Today I am sketching a bee, because there was a bee in my room when I came to do my sketch today, and it took me a half an hour to get rid of it because I'm terrified of bees. And I thought, what better to sketch than something I'm absolutely terrified of? I'm not terrified of pictures. Like some people have a phobia of like spiders or whatever, and then they see a picture of a spider and they're like, ah! Nope, no judgment, but that's not me. I can see pictures of bees, no problem. But you know what? If I hear a buzzing, it does not have to be a bee. I can be sure it's not a bee, but if my brain tells me it's a bee, I am gonna be afraid. We'll do this back legs. We'll just kind of, we'll just kind of do that. A lot of the time, that's enough. I drew that lion yesterday, and on the stream, I forgot entirely to do its back left leg, and it looked totally normal. It wasn't until I went back to like photograph it where I was like, whoa, what the heck? Okay, I think this is pretty good. This is all hairy, this middle part, because it uses that to collect the pollen, I think. This leg actually goes under this middle part, and this leg, or into the fur, I guess. I don't know if it goes under. This eye is going to be big and scary and filled in. All right, I'm going to switch to the black pencil. I use a 2B pencil, which is black 2 for my actual drawing, and I use an HB or number 2 pencil for the initial planning and stuff. And I do that because a number 2 pencil, I love the way this black, you can't, there's no lead markings on this. The lead is inside. I love the way the 2B feels on the page. It's slippier. It it just feels good. It feels like I can draw better with it. And I think I can. And then the number 2 pencil is more easily erasable, which my guess is why they have you do that in school. Oh, hello, Nikolai. I use code loots. What? I don't. I'm drawing a bee. I'm doing a sketch a day every day in May. And today I'm drawing a bee because I am very scared of bees. And I thought there's a bee in my room when I went to do my live. And I was like, well, that's terrifying. And it took me a second to even get ready. And then I thought, what a better way today than to draw a bee. Unfortunately, today is a short one because I have my other job, but tomorrow will be a long one because it's a long one day. And tomorrow I'll be taking suggestions. Does anyone have a favorite insect? Is that a crazy thing to ask? I wonder what my favorite insect is. Bees, honeybees are pretty darn cool. I worked on a farm for a while, and without bees, like, there's tons of food that just does not happen without really intense labor. Almonds, for example, the only reason almonds make it anywhere to anyone's table is because bees exist. Peaches, I think, are another one that are usually entirely propagated by bees. Not propagated, pollinated. I learned that bees can actually understand the concept of zero, and that is very unusual for an animal of any kind, never mind an insect. It was actually third graders who did an experiment, uh, designed, came up with, designed, and and performed an original experiment to determine whether or not bees understood the concept of zero, because scientists at the time had been like, of course they don't. And the kids were like, sure, let's prove that they don't, right? This is what science is. We are good, tiny scientists. And instead, they proved that they do, which is exactly what science is. You go in, you're like, let's prove this thing we think we know by designing, or let's disprove it, is how you actually do it. Let's disprove this thing we think we know by designing an experiment that would prove the opposite if it were true. And then when it's true or false, you get to prove something. Super neat. Okay, my pencil lead. This happens sometimes. There we go. Oh, butterflies is your favorite insect? Butterflies, and what's the next one? Oh my gosh. Moon moths. I have seen two moon moths in my lifetime. One was a caterpillar, and one was the full moon moth. And the full moon moth scared the heck out of me. It was a late summer evening. I was on my computer playing a video game. It was like, I think like really late, like 2 in the morning. My window was open because it's super hot. And in flew this giant animal. Like I thought it was a bird or a plane, but it turned out to be a moon moth. A bird or a bat. I don't know why I said plane. And once it landed, I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. I'm sure I have a photo somewhere. But holy moly, so cool. Gigantic. Like, my hands are relatively small, much bigger than my hand, like this big. And beautiful, like insane colors, colors you don't see in any other place in nature. Maybe not no other place, but I hadn't seen them naturally anywhere else. Okay, this bee is coming together. Aw, ladybugs. Ladybugs sometimes are referred to as the skunks of the insect world because they spray a really stinky scent when they get scared. It's funny because in a different world we'd call ladybugs stink bugs and people would be terrified of them. But you know, as long as you're not frightening stink bugs or ladybugs or whatever you want to call them, then you're going to be fine. That, my guess is it's stinky to animals of any size large enough to scare a ladybug. But I don't know. That's just a guess. Because it's meant to, you know, frighten off or send off people who are trying to scare it. I am really bad at drawing wings without a template. I didn't make a template today. So if I were to make this into a final draft, I would redo the wings probably from scratch. I like the shape, but I would want to go in and really study some insect wings. They can get really interesting. So I know like insect wings, like a dragonfly's wings, you have like this. Well, they're double, but one of them, right, will be like this. And then it'll come from here and it'll go up and sort of like create these sort of cells inside the wing. I guess that's for structure. I don't know. I have to look it up every time. This bee is coming out pretty good. I'm going to get the furry part in the center here. Just going to do a quick that's the good. This would be yellow, 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 yellow. I mean, most of it would be yellow that isn't black. Oh yeah, this would be behind the fuzz, behind the fuzz. There's fuzz on the top of the head. Let's make these antlers. What are they called when they're not on deer? Antenna. Let's get these antenna. There we go. We'll make the mouth a little dark, even though that's not strictly accurate. I think it makes it look a little bit better. Let's put a stinger on it because I'm so terrified. This is what I'm terrified of. I'm not. I'm like, I've been stung by bees tons. It does not scare me that much, the being stung. It's just the bees themselves. What are they doing? Why are they so sneaky? It's mostly wasps, but my brain does not differentiate between bees and wasps. So maybe that's the real problem. I have a wasp phobia, and bees just get caught up in it. I'm just going to come in here and erase the parts that look too straight liney, and then just do a little more bop, 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 bop. Yeah. So now you don't have like where I had done this before, and then come and done like another layer underneath. You see you get this like kind of line in between them. Let me do it a little bit longer. You get this like line in between them. So what I like to do is you come in with an eraser and you just kind of give it a little erase. And then if it looks a little erased, just kind of fill in the erased parts. And now it looks a lot less like you were just filling it in. And it looks a lot more natural. And you still got to fill it in really fast. So it's a win-win. All right. So I want to give this bee something special. I like to, when I draw little animals, I like to give them a special something. The last time I drew a bee, I gave him a party hat. So not that, if that's what you were thinking. We should do something in his mouth. Because that's how bees carry things. Or something in his fur. No, let's do something in the mouth. The strawberry. It's pretty good. Okay, I think I can draw a strawberry. Oh yeah, raspberry would be good because a raspberry is small, right? A raspberry compared to a bee is like probably about that size. And I think a bee might be interested in bringing home a raspberry for its friends. All right. There's the hole where the raspberry, on the top of the raspberry. Sketch a day, May. Sketching every day, as long as it's May. Probably not in June. I do really enjoy sketching live. This was when I started doing YouTube videos and stuff. This was one of the things I thought would be really cool, was sketching live. And I am happy I started, finally. You have to get a certain number of subscribers before you can sketch live and all that noise. Not just sketch, before you can do any live stuff. I'm going to try to do one of these on the computer. Ooh, you know what I forgot? You can see this is his back mouth. Mandible, I guess. So I'll get rid of that. There, that looks much better. We'll sink this one into the raspberry. Because how else is he carrying it? Oh, yeah. I might have done the circles with the little berry seed holders. Maybe they're the berries. Are raspberries really a bunch of tiny, tiny berries? That's a question you'd have to ask Wikipedia. I don't know. You know, like how some fruits are berries or some fruits are vegetables or whatever? Like tomatoes, right? Famously, tomatoes are technically a fruit. Well, bananas are technically a berry, but there's like all sorts of stuff like that. But technically is a weird term because it doesn't actually mean technically, right? It means like scientifically. Because technically, linguistically, bananas are certainly a fruit and tomatoes are certainly a berry. I mean, a fruit, a vegetable. Um, even legally in some countries, tomatoes are vegetables. So like technically, that's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Under the scientific classification is a more accurate term. All right, this is Raspberry Joe, the bee, the friendly bee Raspberry Joe. Segregate fruits. Thank you, Elstefan. So, sort of. I don't often name. I try to name all the guys I draw: girls, guys, people, humans, um, animals. I try to avoid ones like Joe or Steve, like really simple common names. But that's what he got, Raspberry Joe. Let me do a little bit more shading and then I'm going to get off for the day. Oh, I'll try to do a quick cutesy version. I tried to do a cutesy version of all of my ones. I think I forgot one or two. Just going to give this a little shade. Do a little shadow of the wing. All right. I think that's pretty good. Get this underside a little bit more. That's pretty good. I think I like that a lot. All right, and we'll do a quick and cutesy version in this. I really forgot my paper today. I usually draw on this, which helps me not to smudge. Can you see how smudgy my hand is? All right, cutesy version of a bee. Real simple. I don't even think you do like, come on, brain. Let's see. I guess I wasn't going to do the center. I thought I would just do like a, okay, let's try that again. That version was not cutesy. Let's see. We'll draw it a little bit bigger. That'll be easier to get a good I just don't think the three body problem in cutesy animals isn't a complex physics problem about um, how three bodies interact with just gravity acting upon them. It's actually like, how do you get an animal that has three parts in its body to look cute? I'm not doing a good job. Okay, I think I'm getting there actually. You know that experiment where they like asked kids what kiki meant and what, I forget what the round word meant. And the kids were like universally were like, oh, that word means round and that word means like sharp. And they didn't want mean anything. And the kids just like were like, oh yeah, obviously. And they did this in like a bunch of different languages and like we just have like there's certain sounds that people associate with different shapes. It's so strange. So like you saying the more bulbous something is, the cuter. That's like that's real. That's your brain. That's your humanity. Okay, that's not a bad cute bee. I still can't do wings. I should have left it well enough alone. Hang on. I'm bringing it back. All right. That's not a bad cute bee. Oh my gosh. Maybe the cutest bee I've ever drawn. I gotta zoom out a second. Stop shaking. Oh yeah, that's better. All right, thank you so much for coming by. I will be doing a longer one tomorrow, almost certainly. It'll be a lot later, a little bit longer. I'm open to suggestions. I love to have people come and chat. Stop by. I will broadcast it a little bit ahead of time also. So I'm doing sketch a day May. Every day in May, I'm doing a sketch. 12 days left. This was day 19. This was yesterday's sketch. I didn't do a cute version. All right. Have a great day. Thanks for coming. Bye.